Hi, I'm Paul.
And I'm Ming.
Welcome to Skip the Rulebook, your subway system through the rules to the city centre of your awesome new game.
Today we'll be donning our hard hats and building a metropolis in Machi Koro. This card game seats you in the gleaming mayor's office of a new city, with one die, a field of wheat, and more than a few lofty dreams.
Sadly, the life of a city-state official is not all train stations and cheese factories. You'll be competing with your neighbours for cash, building rights, and the chance to be called the biggest. Just make sure they get your good side for that statue. Let's skip the rulebook. The tin I have in front of me is Machi Koro Deluxe Edition and contains not only the base game but also the first two expansions. Today we're going to focus on the core mechanics of the base game only. The rulebook. The core mechanics of the game revolve around these two dice, but do not be fooled into thinking this is a game all about random chance. A lot like poker, the correct decisions and gameplay from the player can be used to mitigate that risk and allow you to win despite poor dice rolling.
The cards in the box are split into three types. The starting establishments have a yellow back, and these are the first buildings in your embryonic city. The standard establishments have a bluish back, and these are the key to your city's future growth. Finally, we have the landmarks, which, once built, will win you the game.
Cities are not built on dreams and goodwill alone, and sometimes only a big bag of cash will do. These coins form the currency of Machi Koro, and are used to buy the establishments that you build in your city. With the game out of the box, let's start setting up. Start by setting up the landmarks. Each player will receive 4 of these, one each at the train station, shopping mall, amusement park, and radio tower. These should be placed so that the under construction symbol, this little digger, is showing. This indicates that they've not yet been built. Next, hand out the starting establishments, identified by the yellow back. Each player will receive 1 wheat field and 1 bakery.
The majority of your city's upgrades will come from a central pool called the marketplace. To create the marketplace, take the blue-backed establishments and place them in face-up piles of each type. For ease of gameplay, it's worth ordering these according to the number on the top of the card, from lowest to highest.
Finally, give out the starting wealth. To do this, simply upend the bag of coins somewhere where everyone can reach them. Then give each player 3 coins. Once your marketplace is set up, you're ready to begin play. The Machi Koro turn sequence is fairly simple and starts off with a dice roll. At the start of the game, each player will only have access to 1 die. At the start of your turn, simply take a die, either colour, and roll it. The income each turn depends upon the result of that roll. In this case, I've rolled a 1. I check that number against the numbers on the top of my establishments. These are known as the activation numbers. As I've rolled a 1, this matches the number at the top of my wheat field. This means that the wheat field becomes activated and generates 1 coin of income for me.
There are 4 types of establishment in Machi Koro. We'll be going through these one at a time, but as Paul has rolled a 1, we'll start with the blue ones, which are known as primary industries. Primary industries generate income during every player's turn. This means that as I also have a blue card which matches Paul's die roll, I also get 1 coin. Haha.
The second thing I can do in my turn is spend some cash and expand my city. To achieve this, I've got 2 options. First, I can choose something from the marketplace, or second, I can choose to build one of the landmarks that's already in front of me. Each turn, a player may only build 1 thing. So for now, I'm going to elect to build another bakery. To do this, I simply pay the cost, which is indicated by the orange circle on the bottom of the card, to the bank, take the card, and place it face up in front of me. You can lay out your city however you want, but you may find in the later game that it starts to get a little bit crowded. So you may find it more useful to stack up cards of the same type.
Now it's my turn. This time I've rolled a 2. Again, I check the activation numbers of my establishments. In this case, the number I've rolled matches my bakery. The bakery is a green establishment, otherwise known as a secondary industry. Secondary industries only generate income on your own turn, so this means while I get 1 coin, Paul gets nothing.
This is a rule that will trip new players up initially, but to remind you, the bottom of the card does tell you when that establishment generates income. In this case, the bakery says on your turn only.
Now it's time for me to buy some stuff. I'm going to buy a cafe, so I'm going to pay 2 coins to the bank and take the cafe.
You can probably already see that once you get used to it, Machi Koro is a fairly pacey game. The trick is to decide what you're going to do while other people are taking their turns. Hey, I rolled a 3. This matches both of my bakeries. Now, since it's possible for multiple establishments to match the number on the dice, that means that more than one establishment can generate income each turn. In this case, both of my bakeries become activated, each generating 1 coin, giving me 2.
Hold on. The card that I purchased in my last turn is our third type of establishment, restaurants. This is the building for those who live by the motto, it's not enough to succeed, others must fail. If during their turn your opponent rolls a number which matches your red establishment, you get to steal some money off them. In this case, Paul has rolled a 3 which matches my cafe. This means I get to steal 1 coin off him. Thank you very much.
The order in which you activate establishments each turn is important. The red ones always go first. This is because if, at the start of my turn, I haven't got any coins, there's no money for me to steal. My bakeries then go second, which means I get 2 coins which are safe from sneaky gittery. If you're playing a game with more than 2 people, you always steal off the person sat anti-clockwise first. I'm going to end my turn by building a bakery.
You'll notice that a lot of the cards on the marketplace have an activation number higher than 6. Initially, this will seem a bit odd because you can't roll higher than 6 when rolling one 6-sided die. This is where your landmark city upgrades will come in. During your turn, you can elect to build one of your landmark city upgrades instead of purchasing an establishment from the marketplace. In this case, I'm going to choose to build my train station. I simply pay for it as if I was buying an establishment from the marketplace and flip it over. The train station now allows me to roll either 1 die or 2 dice to generate the number to activate my establishments. If you choose to roll 2 dice, you add both numbers together. This means you could potentially get any number between 2 and 12.
In the early game, people won't really bother building any establishment higher than 6. That means that rolling 2 dice will only really become useful in the later game. At the moment, neither me or Ming has built an establishment with a number higher than 3. That means that rolling a 7 would amount to wasting a turn. The last type of establishment are the purple ones, and these are known as the major establishments. These are the most expensive establishments in the game and come with them some special rules. The first is that you can only build one of each major establishment in your city. So while I could build 1 stadium and 1 TV station, I couldn't build 2 stadiums. The purple establishments are a little bit like the red ones in that they generally allow you to steal from another player. The difference is they only allow you to do that in your turn only. So if next turn I was to roll a 6, this stadium would allow me to steal 2 coins off each other player, which obviously makes it more powerful if there are higher numbers of players. Earlier on we said that the red cards always activate first. This means that you can't steal income that a player has generated with that dice roll. The purples, conversely, activate last. So if next turn someone were to gain income from me rolling a 6, I'd get the opportunity to steal it.
It's worth pointing out that the special rule for the business centre is a bit different to all the others in the game. If you were to roll a 6 while you had this card in your city, you'd be able to swap any of your establishments for any non-purple establishment in your opponent's city. This means that while you could swap a wheat field for a bakery, you couldn't swap a wheat field for a stadium.
Stop eyeing up my city, you.
Although I can now roll 2 dice, I'm going to choose to roll just 1. Unfortunately, if you roll a number that does not match any of your establishments, you simply get nothing. This means it's a good idea to try and spread the number of establishments you opt for, meaning that you're more likely to generate income for any given dice roll. Of course, there are other schools of thought. The lower number cards are fairly self-explanatory in that they tend to generate a coin if you roll that number. The later cards are a bit more in depth. For example, if I was to buy a fruit and vegetable market, If I rolled 11 or 12 in a later turn, it would get me 2 coins for each card carrying this symbol. This means that with my current wheat field, it would get me 2 coins. If I was to buy another wheat field, it would get me 4, and so on. There are also other cards carrying this little wheat-like symbol, and those would increase the income generated by the fruit and vegetable market. Likewise, if I was to buy a second fruit and vegetable market, this would double the income gained when I rolled an 11 or 12.
While I could keep investing in establishments, landmarks are a way for me to upgrade my entire endeavour in one go. Each of the landmarks tells you on them how they could increase your ability to create profit with your establishments. However, a shopping mall is the one I'm eyeing up at the moment. This upgrades any structure that carries one of these two symbols, the house or the cup. It causes those to generate 1 additional coin if they're activated. If I were in a future turn to roll a 2 or a 3 and activate my bakeries, I would gain 6 coins rather than the 3 I currently get. Unfortunately, the shopping mall is 10 coins and therefore something I can't currently afford. It's worth noting that although the value of the landmarks increases gradually, you don't have to build them in any particular order.
The landmarks are also your route to victory. The whole game continues with each player rolling and building until one player has built all 4 landmarks. At that point, the game is over and that player has won.
Machi Koro is a nice easy game that can be played with a wide range of players, even those who don't normally board game. The simple mechanics can be picked up within a round or two. What gives the game real depth, however, is just how much you can play with those mechanics to create some superb strategies, potentially even setting up some quite complex synergies between the cards. That means for the board game veterans among you, there's enough deep thinking to keep you hooked. Overall, this is a pacey game that we highly recommend. You can get to grips with it easily and play through a game quickly. So far, pretty much every game I've ever played with a new player has ended with them saying, "Let's have another game." That's it from us at Skip the Rulebook. If you found this video useful, please give us a thumbs up. If you want to hear more from Skip the Rulebook, please hit subscribe. You can also find out more about us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
Keep your eyes out for our Just Play video on Machi Koro to see us play the game from start to finish with our friends.
Join us next time on Skip the Rulebook for your chance to jump into that brand new board game without having to do any of that tedious rule reading. See you later. Keep rolling, baby. You know what time it is.
This means that
Eating noises, noises of heat.
Paul's just done a curry burp.
How do you keep ending up with the wrong number of coins? Hey, I got a 3. Hey, I got a 3. Stop.
Hold on. Isn't it anti-clockwise?
I did say
You
anti-clockwise.
said clockwise.
No, I didn't.
You did.
I definitely didn't.
You definitely said clockwise.
Yay! Yes!
It's worth pointing out that the special rule for the business centre is a little different to all the other rules. Not all the other rules.
Little different.
Little different. It's a little different. It's worth pointing out that the special rule for the business centre is a little different.
Shouldn't have done it, should I?
I'm going to say a bit different.
What gives the game real depth, though? What gives the... Hey! What gives the game real depth, however, is just how much... Oh, for God's sake. I got it right! Smashed it. The word we use there is peak.
One slight downside to Machi Koro is that after a few games, certain strategies will become obvious as the strong ones to pursue. This is bad.
While the other players decide... that was poor. That was completely wrong.
Well, let's just get rid of that. That was just useless.